Hi, it's David from Life with Parkinson's. Thank you for taking the time to watch. It's taken me a few days to process my 6-month neurologist checkup on Friday. Today's Tuesday morning, and I'm finally at the point of where I think I can make this video. It's so hard sometimes to process news, right? If there's such an emotional buildup to these appointments, I know a lot of you probably understand what I'm talking about. It's just you make the appointment 6 months in advance, and then you wait and you wait and you wait and you wait, and then some of your symptoms progress and you're like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do about it? It's like, oh, okay, my appointment's only 3 months away. It's not so bad. But when it gets to 2 or 3 weeks and it feels like that cup that you're filling up with water with all your symptoms is about to bubble over and you need a new cup, a bigger cup. You know, the water just gushes right through that dam and you feel like you're going to explode by the time you get there. So what's been happening the last couple months is, and I've shared this in little tidbits here and there, but you take your pills and then your dopamine level climbs, and then as the medication wears off, it goes back down. So then near the bottom of that curve is where your medication time is, and then it goes back up. You get all these peaks and valleys of where your medication is at. The valleys are tough to navigate. I've been taking the medication now for 5 years. Well, in May it'll be 5 years, and that's about how long I was told the medication is going to be really effective. So now these peaks and valleys that I get are very pronounced. Like when I'm on, and I can do stuff. I feel like I could play a game of basketball, but when I'm off, wow, you're off. When I go to my 6-month checkup, first I see the nurse and I explained to her what was going on with these peaks and valleys, and she said something to me that I kind of knew, but wasn't really in the front of my mind. She's like, when you're off, everything about you is off. I'm like, huh. So she's like, yeah, your emotions, your thought processes, everything is off. Yeah, so when you're going down to that valley, yeah, you're going to get a lot of anxiety because everything is off. Like your brain isn't functioning. And I'm like, huh. When you're off, I was like, oh yeah, I can't walk as well, or I can't talk as well, or do things as well as I used to. But no, she's like, no, your brain is off. I probably should know that, but that's just something I didn't really think about. So she's like, don't worry, the doctor, you'll see your neurologist soon and he'll figure out something to do for you. So then I go over to see the neurologist and I'm explaining again. Then he asks me, oh, did the doctor for the deep brain stimulation get a hold of you? I'm like, no, I haven't heard anything from them. And as you probably know from a previous video that I put out, the wait list in British Columbia right now is about 5 years. Apparently they're looking for another neurologist to do the deep brain stimulation. So if you're living in BC and you're watching this video, I'm going to, up at the top there, I'm going to put a little card suggesting that you watch the deep brain stimulation video. And please send a letter to the government as it explains so we, not just for me, but I'm like right at the bottom of the list. But for everybody else ahead of me that's been waiting through COVID, let's get them done. If you're enjoying this video and the content, I ask that you hit the like button. This is the best way for this video to spread to more people. Thank you. Getting back to the video, I'm explaining the problems I'm having to the doctor, and then he's asking me, well, why is it so important for you? What is the big problem that you're having? Why are you so concerned about your lows? Because I'm like, okay, and then I don't want to cry in the office, but unfortunately I did, and I'm like, I gotta leave here with some sort of solution because these off times are brutal. Like by the end of the day I'm exhausted because I've had 4 extreme lows or 4 extreme off times that last for about an hour each. And I know there's a lot of people watching this dealing with the anxiety from Parkinson's. I understand, like this anxiety just comes on you and it's like a tidal wave sometimes. And then it goes away and you're like, oh, I can do things for an hour or two, maybe. Sometimes you don't really get on, you just get out of the anxiety. And then of course another one comes. So for me, these off times are from 10 to 11 in the morning, 1 to 2 in the afternoon, 4 to 5, and then 7 to 8. 4 very long, very pronounced times of off times. And I'm like, when I'm off, it's hard to deal with my bird, right? She's a lovely bird and I love her dearly, but having a pet when you're off, I don't know, but it's hard. And then I'm like, I don't want to give up hunting. I want to be able to go hunting in some form this year. We're talking about different options, and then he brings up what's called the Movapo pen, and I will make another video when I have the actual pen and show you how it works and everything. I won't go into it too much. I'll put a link in the description below to the Movapo pen if you want to have a look at it ahead of time. But basically it's just a rescue medication that you give to yourself through injection when these off times come, and I'm really looking forward to getting it. I need something to help carry me through these off times. I know they're just going to get progressively worse. And then I'm explaining to him my schedule, my exercise schedule, everything that I do. And he's like, wow, you're pretty active for someone with Parkinson, especially where you're at. And he explained another thing that I didn't really understand is when you're extremely active, which is good, and I encourage all of you to do as much activity as you feel comfortable with, but when you're this active, you're actually burning through the medication a little bit quicker. And I didn't understand that. Like, I thought the medication just went to your brain and it's there. But when you're extremely active, doing a large amount of activity, you're actually burning through it faster, so it's completely done. It needs to be replaced. So I don't get a lot of dyskinesia. Okay, I'm jumping ahead of myself here. So it doesn't get replaced. That's something I didn't really understand. I'll put my medication schedule here just on the screen quick before the recent increase. And you can see there, comparatively, like I know everybody is different. Everybody takes a different amount of medication based on what they need. I understand. But for me, when I look at my pill schedule, it looks to be like a lot of pills. And I was getting worried about increasing it more. That was one of my biggest worries, because if I increase it more, I'm concerned about the side effects or how long it's going to work for me. And he's like, no. You don't need to worry about increasing it more, because he asked how much dyskinesia do you get? Like how much rapid movement, that you can't control do you get throughout the day? I'm like, very little. Maybe a little bit once in a while between 10 a.m. and noon, but not very much. He goes, okay, so that's kind of the baseline measurement of if you can increase your carbidopa-levodopa medication more, is they're concerned about how much dyskinesia I get. And I'm like, no, I don't really get any. So he's like, okay, you're probably still under medicated a little bit, so we can increase your dosage. And I'll put that new dosage here on the screen. And as you can see, it's just a small increase, but I might increase I'm allowed to make a little adjustment to my medication too, so I might increase the 1 p.m. because I feel the 1 to 4 is one of the times of the day where I really drop off, unless I can get in a nap at around 1, which I try to every day just to carry me through. Once we got through all the medication adjustments, then he explained to me about the Movapo pen, but the only concern I have about the pen is that it's called a dopamine agonist, and that's the medication where you get the side effects of the impulsive behavior. I'll go through that in the Movapo pen video, but the dopamine agonist is what I'm most fearful of all the medications, just because of the impulsive behavior. One of the other things I talked to my neurologist about was, he's like, don't worry, the deep brain stimulation doesn't happen soon. There are other options like the duodopa pump, and there are other medications, so he's like, don't worry. So I'm going to say that to you guys, try not to worry also. There are other options that can be done for us. I guess the other big thing for me is that with Parkinson's, the goalposts are always moving back, right? Or you can look at it like drawing lines on the sand, right? You draw one line and you step behind it, but then the Parkinson's crosses over, so you take a little step back and draw another line, and then the Parkinson's crosses over that, and then you draw another line in the sand, and the Parkinson's keeps on advancing, right? Like, no matter what you do, how much exercise you get, how many supplements you take, right? The Parkinson's is still degenerating in the background. It's still doing its thing. I guess that's something I need to be more comfortable with, is when I draw a new line, because happiness is a choice, right? That's what I believe. Happiness, like we choose to be happy or we choose to be sad. And I know that's not a rule for everything. I know there are exceptions to that rule. Generally, I feel that we choose to be happy, and somehow I need to be happy about the new line that I'm drawing, and somehow I need to be happy with all those previous lines, and that for me is one of the most difficult things about navigating this illness is, am I happy about those lines that I've stepped back from and drew a new line? Am I happy with all those? And I have to be happy with them all. If I'm not, then I'm just gonna go crazy. Like, I'm going to lose it. So yeah, that's my big update, and I'm looking forward to my Movapo appointment, and I'm hoping that this rescue medication does its thing because, man, I got stuff to do. I want to live. I can only encourage you on your journey as well to continue to do the things that you enjoy for as long as possible, or learn something new. If we can't do what we used to do, my suggestion is try and learn something new. It might be interesting and you might really enjoy it. You know, what do you think? How do you approach your neurologist checkups? Like, what's the spacing? Is it 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, 8 months? And how do you deal with that build-up? Leave me a comment below, and it would be great to get a good discussion about that. YouTube is going to suggest a video over here, and they are going to ask you to subscribe over here. If you haven't subscribed to this channel and you want to receive notifications when new videos are put up, please subscribe. Let's take this journey together. Thank you and have a good day. Goodbye.